is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
You guys, today we are joined by one of our favorite new best friends. Spoiler alert, you're our friend now. Robbie Simpson from Finding Mr. Christmas Season 2. Robbie, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so honored to be here. I'm such a fan of y'all and your podcast, and so I'm just happy to be chatting all things Hallmark and Finding Mr. Christmas today.
I have to stop. Where'd you grow up? Because you dropped a y'all. I'm dying to know.
I mean,
where are you
y'all?
I know.
I'm born in
You guys,
California.
I feel like I've been caught. I'm actually in Massachusetts right now, which is where I grew up. I did not grow up in the South, and now I live in New York City. But I was making like some cameos the other day and like, stuff on Instagram. And Kyle, my partner, was like, "Why do you keep saying y'all? You're not from the South." And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not trying to put it on, but it's just been coming out. So he just like grilled me on it. And now I just got, grew up in Massachusetts, very proud, love it. So beautiful. Western Mass, kind of like the Berkshires. And now I'm a proud New Yorker.
Oh, you and Dorinda. Is that the right person?
Dorinda.
Dorinda?
Do you know who we're talking about? Dorinda from Real Housewives.
Bluestone Manor?
Yes.
Isn't that in the Berkshires?
Yes. That's how people know the Berkshires. But I mean, for me, it's Dorinda from The Traitors. Do you know? Because I'm not.
Would you love to be on that show?
Oh, wait,
Consider this my campaign launch for The Traitors. If The Traitors is listening, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be a traitor. And
they need Jonathan too. The two of you on the show would be incredible. Yeah, and Dorinda needs her redemption story eliminated entirely too soon.
I know, but she's getting it, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
the upcoming season.
nice.
She gets to be on it. Yeah.
As a full side note, I heard Bob the Drag Queen on an interview the other day, and he was like, those housewives, the problem is they ride hard for each other. The other shows are competition shows, so they're like, I'll vote you out tomorrow. But like that, they have a real disadvantage on Traitors because they're just like this natural clique, so they're just going to come for them. So,
which is so funny because on their own show, like they will fight each other tooth and nail. But it's like maybe actually kind of sweet that like on the Traitors, they like ride or die.
Do we need to recap the Traitors this season?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe we
will. You want to come? You want to be a special guest on the Traitors?
I need to weigh in.
Okay.
Excellent.
Back to Robbie. Let's start with the obvious. How are you doing since the show wrapped? Since the news of your elimination has aired?
Listen, I'm doing great. Because here's the thing. Like I was eliminated from the show back at the end of April. So like I was shocked then and so sad, but mostly I was sad because I loved going to set every day. I loved filming the show. I loved the guys. I loved never knowing like what wild and zany challenge Jonathan had dreamed up for us. So it was so fun. So yes, I wanted to win a Hallmark movie, but I actually think when I left, I was more sad to just be like leaving the best Christmas party I'd ever been to. So that was sad. But since then, like I had an amazing summer. I went and did like a dream role in a play. I went to London and produced a musical. I taught this great class for NYU and Stella Adler. So like I've had like a great time since then. And then now it's just been like the wonderful ride of the show coming out and doing press and like hanging out with all the guys again. So it's been so fun. What is hard is like looking at my friends and family and not because they don't know about the elimination. And then I think it was a hard turn from them going from the talent show, which was so exciting and so fun and getting so much love and not just, also from fans, but looking at my friends and family and going, next week's going to be a hard week, So it was harder to kind of watch their sadness and disappointment than it was for my own because I knew it was happening. But I have to say, like, what's being awesome is like, if you have to be eliminated from a reality TV show, like I would recommend this is the way to do it. Like to have Jonathan's support and like to have him come hug me and say that he's proud of me. And then to have that video kind of become like a little viral on the internet and having like all of these fans weigh in has been incredible. And hearing from so many people in the LGBTQ plus community that I didn't even know watched Hallmark that are saying like they're so proud to see themselves like represented, and also some like older folks like saying that they never thought they would see this on Hallmark has been like really incredible. And then this petition started by this sweet fan. I was like, being an actor is hard. Like what Craig said in the episode 5 elimination of you just keep, auditioning and auditioning and auditioning, like he's right. And so to like have this kind of moment of feeling like you're making an impact is really incredible. So it's actually been like a really wonderful last week and a half hearing from people and talking and doing some press about it. And so I'm good. It's been a good, little ride.
I heard that after your elimination, one Jonathan Bennett called your partner Kyle and just like touched base with him about how proud he was of you and what a great experience it had been working with you. And that really speaks to me about the heart of the show, about what we're doing here, as opposed to what's happening on some other reality programming like The Traitors or The Housewives.
100%. No, that's exactly what happened. And yeah, Jonathan FaceTimed my partner Kyle, and it was like really so sweet. But all of the producers and all of the people behind the scenes making the show happen, from the heads to the sound people to like the craft services people were like coming up and were so kind. But that's just kind of what the set was like. We were not treated like contestants on a show. We were treated like we were on a show and making something really beautiful and fun together. And you could tell because of season 1 and how much fun people had doing it, that we were being welcomed to this party and treated so well that every time someone went home, everyone was sad that they were like leaving the party. It was like the best set environment. And like, I've been on, a bunch of TV and film sets, and it's not always like that. In fact, it's never like that. So it was really special. But I think that's the Hallmark brand. And I'm here to tell you that, like, honestly, it's not just on the camera and on set, it's what's happening behind the scenes too. It's like really sweet.
You mentioned season 1. Going into season 2, did you know, I mean, I could tell that you're a Hallmark fan and that you were familiar with the show. What did you feel like you were getting yourself into? Did you have a good grasp of what you were going into when you arrived?
I did, because we were able to watch season 1, which was really helpful. And I liked what I was seeing, and I'm a huge reality TV show fan. So, and so is my partner. But I never really saw a show that I feel like I could go be on, or felt like there was like a space for me there, because for a lot of different reasons, but just like what I'm doing in my life, like mostly I'm producing and directing and acting and really wanting to feel like I'm holding that space, just making sure that I'm making the right decisions, And so when this show came up that was Hallmark, that was about acting, that Jonathan Bennett was the head of, it just was like a no-brainer. And so it was helpful, looking at season 1 and also just when you're so familiar with the brand and to be able to tell those stories, it was such an easy yes for me. Although I'll also say, like, I feel like getting on the show should be its own show in general. Because like getting on the show, the audition, the amount of people, the amount of calls, self-tapes, producer interviews, that we did to get on the show, that should be its own thing. Like, I feel like I won just by being selected as one of the 10 guys.
I would watch that show.
I would absolutely watch that show. And in fact, when you were talking about it, what was that process like? Did they come to you? Did you fill something out online? Like, how did this all unfold?
It was like 11 p.m. at night, and I got a DM from the casting director, Lindsay Lyles. Like, shout out Lindsay. She is an incredible casting director, an incredible human. And I like said to Kyle, I was like, look at this DM I just got. And he's like, it's fake, don't respond. But then I like looked her up online and she was legit, and looked up the show, and then had a phone conversation with her the next day. Kyle and I sat down to watch one episode of season 1 of Finding Mr. Christmas. We watched 4 in a row. We couldn't get enough of it. We loved all the guys. The next night we watched the rest, episodes 5 through 8. And then from there on, I was a very last addition to the show. Like, I think I was like really like fast tracked towards the end. Like, a lot of the guys, it was a very long, drawn out 3-month process for them. But I was like, every day it was like either the self tapes, interviews, Zooms, phone calls. It happened it wasn't fast. I mean, I'd still say it was like about 3 weeks of a process, but for some of the guys, it was like 3 months. So, but it was the most intense audition process I'd ever gone through. But it should be like, they're really, and I think it shows. I think all the guys are incredible in so many different ways, but they're really looking for Hallmark's, next leading man. And so I understand that it takes a lot.
They want someone who's going to make good reality TV and who's going to be someone they can
put in a movie.
Put into a movie that people are going to.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's something that Jonathan talks about. And it's actually something my partner Kyle recently said to me. He's like, what you're doing is so hard because you're being judged as an actor, but they're judging you as an actor knowing who you are as a person. And those are really two different things. And you aren't really doing that, and it's a way, we don't have control over a lot, as actors, but it's an interesting show and it's difficult to be on. And Jonathan says this, we're so brave for doing this and to be doing these scenes and these challenges. And let me tell you, like, when they say we have 15 minutes to like memorize the scene and learn how to ride a horse, we have 15 minutes. Like that's all real. And then we're doing it in one take in front of, a whole Hallmark audience. So that's difficult. And then you see your reaction as a human being. It's hard. It's a difficult like tightrope to walk.
Yeah, we were just talking about the recent episode. There was a bee or a wasp or something that got into the scene. But I was like, that's so unfair because if it was a real TV show or a real movie, it wouldn't be just one take. You would stop the scene and reset or whatever. So I do feel sometimes when we're watching the scenes that you guys do on the show, we're like, well, that wouldn't happen in real life. We need to see them as an actor, not like how they would react as just a regular human. So very interesting.
I think it is a mixed bag because I feel like some of the best things that happen on film can be happy accidents. So like, the way you deal with the bee or the way you deal with the mistake can sometimes end up being gold. And it's like, thank God we kept going with it.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan tells this great story about the movie that he just did, A Crowley Christmas Vacation, about they had one take to do one of those scenes when they're ice skating. And so sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have just like a very limited time, to do it. And you need to be able to deliver. You need to be able to know your lines, know what you're doing, and be able to show up with charm and charisma and all of that Hallmark leading man energy. So I agree. I agree with you that like most often, although when I was doing General Hospital, you do one take and you're moving on, like all of that. And that's a very different world. But yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag and difficult, especially when you only get like 15 minutes to memorize all those lines.
I hope we get it. Last year in the finale, they did actually get to do 2 takes and they got feedback from a director. And I was like, that's what we need. That's what they need. Like they need that feedback. Okay, this is what I want to ask. Do you get more feedback from Jonathan, Melissa, people on set than we see about your scenes?
You don't get it before. No, you really get it
after the fact.
You get it after the fact, because I think that and I think this is part of the show. Like they really want to see what you're going to bring to it.
But are you getting that like after your scene? Are they coming to you and saying like, "Hey, just for future, like, here's the feedback we would give you"?
No, the only feedback you really get is in the elimination, like, and those, we film those eliminations for a long time and there's a lot that's discussed. And a lot of the time it's what you see on the show. If you're in the bottom, you get some feedback about why you are in the bottom. Mm-hmm. But as someone who was never in the bottom until I went home, I like kind of didn't get that feedback. In the first episode, I was like in the bottom 5, but then Davey and I were safe. So I don't like actually consider that the bottom 3, but
sure.
So you don't really get that. But what I will say is like the whole time, Jonathan would always be like checking in with us like off camera and being like, hey, are you good? Like, what do you need? You're doing great. It's just like a lot of support and positivity. And that's honestly what we need at that point. Because it's hard to not be comparing yourself to other people and, oh my gosh, I'm here with a, international fitness model, or this person, that, or it's hard to not compare yourself. So just to be getting that encouragement that like you belong here and like you are enough, which is what we're getting, from him and all of the other, folks, that's important.
You talked about never having been in the bottom 3 before your elimination, and I'm sitting here thinking about your elimination. I'm never going to stop thinking about it because
we're always mad about it. We're still mad about it.
You and Rustin were not the bottom 2 based on your acting. It was based on like on-set shenanigans, shall we say. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not fair, right? Like, then there's a part of me that's like, well, like, you don't want to cast someone who's difficult to work with. But then I'm like, we know that's not the case, right? Like, so I'm like, did you have any feelings about that being the basis of your elimination?
For sure. For sure. It was definitely hard to hear, especially because honestly, I get along with like the guys are amazing. Like we talk all the time. Like everything that all the other guys say in interviews is true. Like we have 4 different group chats. Like it's incredible. They're great. One of the people I talk to the most is Rustin after the show. He's and have always felt so close to him. So I think that was like really hard to hear that was the feedback because what happened was we went back in the house and we were like working on the scene. And then, when we came outside to have everybody jumping in, and you talked about it in your recap, like there was a lot going on. It was very fast and it definitely didn't feel that way. I know Rustin said it didn't feel that way. That was not my experience. But also, like, at the end of the day, like, I trust the judging and I trust what they see and what they saw. But I think also in the elimination, they backtracked it a little bit. They said, okay, yeah, well, you're right. But now we just have to judge based on acting. And Rustin just like pulled it out like a little bit more. So
Yeah.
I'm, since then, and I'm trying to, I always want to like learn from everything that I do and just become better and take everything with a grain of salt. And I think when it came down to it, I don't think it did a poor job. I just think that Craig and Davey took like a really big swing. They improv some lines at the beginning that like I never would have done because sometimes I feel like, and I said this on a different interview, that sometimes for television writers, it depends on the writer. They don't want you to, say things that different. And I do come from the theater world where it is more sacred. Like you have to say and, you have to like get every word perfect. So it's not my experience that you just want to kind of go off script like that. And that could have gone either way for them. We saw Craig take bigger risks and they didn't pay off. And I just think that they took a big risk and it really paid off. And that put Rustin and I in the bottom because, and so I think that's in my mind, that's like how it worked out. Is good for them that they did that. And I think it was very funny and them throwing the cookies like got me laughing. And so it just kind of didn't go my way that day, which I obviously wish it did. But for me, it wasn't because of anything that happened with Rustin.
You're such a good person because I'm like, I'm mad. And you have brought a life lesson from it. So
Well,
I appreciate that about you.
Of course, you like go through the stages of grief because like I said, it was so hard to leave the Christmas party. That was I love that you call it the Balsam Hill House. I'm obsessed with that. Because it also makes me think of like the Haunting of Hill House, like that's scary, but it's like Balsam Hill House. It's like the Christmas house. And I also love like shout out to Cruising Mr. Christmas. They call it whenever we're like doing reality by the tree, they call it the Christmas Illusions Lounge because that's like a takeoff of RuPaul's Drag Race. So I love all these like different terms. But there are the stages of grief. But I have to say, like, I really feel this way that everything happens the way it's supposed to. And I also think that like when you're given an opportunity, and every single one of us was given an opportunity, like even the people that go home, it's like you can decide to make the most of the opportunity that you're given. And I also feel like had I not gone home in the way that I did, and was it not so loved or people have controversial opinions from the fans that have been reaching out, would I be getting all of this love and attention and support? Like it's ended up, I'm kind of like, I'm good. Like, I think I won the most challenges while I was there. I was vulnerable. I made friends. I got to roast Jonathan Bennett. I got to like run around in a hamster ball, slide up and down a Crisco mountain, like fly 30 feet in the air, be the best. How about getting the first slingshot present in? Like I got to do so many awesome things.
Robbie.
And so I kind of feel like, I was sad to leave, but I felt like I left with a full heart.
Look, I want to tell you, when we watch this, we like write notes as we watch the show, right? And that's the slingshot episode. I was like, Robbie, I was like so excited for you. But I was like, you have no idea, like the genuine like excitement for you. I was rooting so hard. I'm like, all these little wins that you've been having. Oh, man. They're
Look,
so fun.
We talk about this show like we're being paid to do so. We are such genuine fans of the show. And we saw, when we first got the show, we saw the first 2 episodes and Wendy was like, who's your favorite? This is 100% the truth. I was like, Team Robbie right here. And that we really didn't know you yet, but that was first impression. And then I'm so sad we only got 3 more episodes, but I do feel like we got vulnerable Robbie. We got fun Robbie. You got to be this like voice of reason, and that scene you have with Marcus by the fire is so touching. You're talking about your moms. So I was from jump a big fan of yours. So I'm glad we're getting to talk to you, is what I'm saying.
That
Yeah,
that means so much. Thank
you have
you.
made me laugh and cry watching this reality TV show. Like, come on. You're such a good human.
You talked about the opportunities you've had after filming, and I need to talk about a Real Housewife run-in that you had, because we talked about it a little bit off mic, but you're flying home from Utah, and who's sitting in front of you?
Y'all, like, the universe is crazy. So and I'll tell you exactly what happened. The day after I was eliminated, you finish up some of the confessional interviews. That's just how it happens. I actually missed my flight that night because I was doing some more confessional interviews and talking about the show. And as you can tell, I love to talk. And then that night, I ended up staying an extra night. And then that night, I went out to dinner with like a few of the guys. And so like we got to talk and hang out. But then the next morning, I get on the flight in Salt Lake City, and who's sitting in front of me but Bronwyn Newport, who is just like, for me, she's it. She's like reality TV royalty. I think she does it right. And then like flashback, now we got talking on the flight, and then we were having drinks in New York, and now she's become an incredibly sweet and supportive friend, supportive through the reality TV process. But that never would have happened had I not been eliminated like when I was. I don't know. It's just it's kind of one of those things where you look back on your life and you're like, oh, I see what's happening there. Like I see the path, and she's incredible. So like, yeah, it was a pretty sweet experience.
I have been in your DMs. I'm like, you know everyone. I saw you with Allie Liebert recently. Did you know her before Finding Mr. Christmas?
I didn't know her, but I was just flying back. I was flying to LA to do some more stuff for press for Finding Mr. Christmas, and went to the Out 100 party, which to go there with Hallmark and be supported by Hallmark at the Out 100 party, I was like, what is my life right now? Like high school Robbie would have just been freaking out. I was always looking at those pictures from that event of, the most influential LGBTQ folks of the year. And then to be there with, Hallmark PR was like really incredible. So I was out there doing some press and photo shoots and podcasts and everything. And then, but that's also when Jonathan was getting his star on the Palm Springs Walk of Stars, which is just so cool. And like Jonathan has been, and I will say this forever, and I mean it, like so supportive of us when we were on set, even when he wasn't on camera, anything, making sure we were okay. And then since the show, we were just texting this morning, has been so kind and so supportive. And like the fact that I'm saying that because he has been so important to me for so long has been amazing. So like for me to just show up and support him on that day, like I would do anything. So of course I was there. But then he knew that I was driving from LA to Palm Springs, and he was like, hey, would you mind bringing my friend Allie? And so like I just like picked up Allie like that morning, and we like did a road trip to Palm Springs together, and like honestly became like BFFs. Like she's the best. And I love, we talked about The Holiday Sitter, right? That she directed that film, which was the first like major gay kiss on television. And George Chrissa, who plays Jonathan's boyfriend in that show, is a really good friend of mine. So like,
What?
You kind of look like him a little bit.
it's a small world. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take that. I'll take that. And how about a movie for us together? How about that?
Yes.
So that was really sweet. So yeah, she just was, when you just like connect with those people right away, she's incredible. And she's doing awesome work just like as a queer woman in media, like acting, directing, just she's really awesome and a really cool human being. So Jonathan kind of set that friendship up.
God, look at that. You're just out here doing it. It's all happening.
It's
for
all
you, Robbie.
happening. It's happening.
Just wow. Put it out in the
It's just like-
we're going to secret it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, please. Well, it honestly means so much because, we didn't know each other before this, and, we didn't really get to talk before this. And so it's so nice. Like, I just feel, and y'all are such fans of Hallmark and the show. And so I just like, I'm like, feel honored to even like be here talking to you all. It's the same thing as everything else that's been happening. So, and it's nice to feel like, because when you're on reality TV, you're sharing your story, you're sharing yourself. It's like so much scarier than like, I can play a part and I can hide behind the part. But like, I'm talking about, and I'm opening up about stuff that when I said that on the talent show about the regrets about my mom, I've never said that to my father, who's downstairs right now. I've never said that to my aunt, my mom's sister. I had never said that to anyone, that I had these deep regrets about, maybe not flying home or not seeing her. And so I was having discussions with my family about that over Thanksgiving. And if I'm having discussions with my family about it, I've already gotten dozens of messages from people that say that they felt that way and they never acknowledged it before, or they never felt like they could say that about that they have regrets about something like that. So that's the win for me.
You're gonna make Wendy cry.
Yeah, I really connect. Stop it. I know I'm already like tearing up. I really connected over that. My mom passed away about 10 years ago, and I
Ugh,
have
I'm so
some
sorry.
similar, thank you. I have some similar feelings like yours of regret of things I didn't say or I didn't go back and do, or I left not knowing that would have been the final time. So I really melted when you talked about that on the show. And I would and you even said, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, if I can talk about it, then that means other people
Oh,
can talk about it too. It was something like that. And I was like, oh, I've been shouldering this regret or this feeling like for so long and I've never said it to anybody. So anyway, thank you for that.
Because talking about it, well, I think like, I don't remember totally what I said, but it was like, you never know who it's going to help when you're able, when you're able to talk about it,
That's
and it
it.
doesn't have to
That's
be on
it.
television. Like, it's also like, just like sharing your feelings, like someone else could feel that way. And then you'll never know to the extent at which like it helps them, or it heals them. And one of the guest judges that day actually shared that. And I think that was on television, that she also had a similar experience to what you just talked about. So, what we say in theater all the time is like, when we're building plays and also television, is like, the more specific the story and the more specific your words are, the more universal it is, which is kind of a mind thing. Cause you go, oh, I want a general story so more people can relate to it. It's like, actually, the more specific you are with your feelings, your thoughts, like what you want out of a scene, the more universal and the more touching it's going to be to more people.
So we've talked a lot about the good, the positive. Is there a moment from filming you're like, oh no, that's going to be on television? That you panicked a little bit realizing, was there a moment for you or was it all good?
Not really. I'm trying to think. Honestly, like, I like went into the slip and slide Crisco
Oh yeah.
Mountain. We weren't allowed to say Crisco on camera, but
Yeah.
it
Or
was
Rubik's Cube.
or Rubik's Cube, right? Totally. Or Rudolph. So, um, but it was Crisco. Let's be clear. So I went in thinking like, I am capable of winning all these things, and I'm going to win a third festive face-off. I didn't make it up the hill once. I didn't make it up the hill once with the candy cane.
Oh
And I
my
knew there was a shot where I like completely wiped out. I looked up and there was a camera in my face. And I'll also just say, like, the beautiful jerk girl from episode 1, I had
gosh.
no idea that I said that. I had no idea that I said that. No one brought it up to me. They didn't talk about it in the elimination. It was like in August. Jonathan like FaceTimed me one day and he was like cracking up and he's like, I have to know about beautiful jerk girl. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And sure enough, definitely said it. Definitely said it. So I wasn't like, maybe I was worried to hear that, but I was like, I've watched enough reality TV to know like, your weird, awkward mistakes sometimes are your greatest gift. And so many people have written that it just like made them laugh and, it was what it was. So, and the slipping and the sliding also made people laugh. So it was, it's a win-win.
You've talked a lot about your acting career prior to this, what you're doing now. What was the moment for you that you were like, oh, this is what I meant to do?
I met my dad. So like, these are all like my posters here, like, stuff that I've been in. I don't know. It's been an interesting road. There wasn't ever one moment that I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my whole life. I grew up in the Berkshires in Massachusetts where there's like so much arts and culture and theater. So like I was always seeing theater. My mom was always bringing me to New York City to like see Broadway shows or to Hartford to see the touring shows. So like I always kind of knew I was going to do it. But the thing that is interesting that I'll say is during and after the pandemic, I started directing a lot and produced a lot and started running this musical theater program and started teaching for NYU. That all of this wonderful success came in the way of kind of leading and producing. And that made me really happy because I got to create the rooms and the spaces that were healthy and safe and where people felt comfortable to like come and do their work. And I loved that. But I kind of got away a little bit from the acting because auditions and jobs would come up, but I would have a really big play that I was, directing or something like that. So I kind of got away from that. But we DM'd about this, I think, very quickly. But Mary-Kate Morrissey is one of my best friends from college. We went to school together. We lived together. We moved to New York City together. And she was finishing up her 10-year run as Elphaba from tour to Broadway to, doing it so many different times. And so I've seen her probably like 30 times, like at least to play that part. But she was finishing her run on Broadway in February, March, like right when I was like auditioning, when the show like popped up. And I was just watching her do her thing. And I was like, you know what? Like, I miss that. I love that. I had done a play that was like a dream like 6 months prior and like felt like awakened. So like right when you're seeing me like on the show and I was like really coming back to acting in a big way and seeing Mary Kate inspired me and then the show happened. So it was like a wonderful reunion and back to that. So I'd say like maybe that's the moment that I was like, you know what, I'm not done with this. And after like the support from the show and some other stuff that's like happening that's pretty exciting, I feel like it's definitely going to be where I'm spending some time over the next however many years. So
I love that moment existed. Side note, for anybody listening who is a theater fan, Mary Kate's a great follow on social media because she posts a lot of like the nitty gritty, the behind the scenes, her day to day. Really interesting. That's how one of the ways I know her. But that's also how you know Jenna Claire because the two of them toured together and then they both did Broadway runs, but never at the same time, is my understanding. But they're friends from the touring production. How long have you known her?
So before Mary Kate was with her now husband, Wicked has like almost like emotional support money. So like I would and I would go out to the tour a lot and visit her like whenever because like the role is tough, the schedule is tough. So I would just go out and we would like spend time like laying in the hotel like watching American Horror Story and eating ice cream, with her not talking and doing vocal rest.
Yes.
And her best friend was Jenna Claire. So they would always like get an Airbnb together. And so I would always just hang out with Jenna Claire. We would always like have such a blast together. And Jenna Claire was taking such good care of Mary Kate on tour. Like behind the scenes, off stage, really like being a wonderful Glinda on and off stage that I would check in with, Jenna Claire. I'd be like, is everything good? How's she doing? So we got really close because of that. And then I remember when she got her first Hallmark movie, The Holiday Spectacular, it was like such a huge win and we were so excited and she was so good. And I'm so happy that she's continued to be a huge Hallmark star. And when I started was getting like very close and I was like, I think I'm going to be on this show. I was so hard to not reach out to her to be like, we clearly, it's not surprising to find out that like we can't tell anybody, and haven't been able to tell anybody. So, but now to kind of be cross-pollinating Hallmark with her is like such a joy because I've known her for, I don't know, like well over a decade. Yeah, she's wonderful. And I'm so proud of everything she's doing at Hallmark. Her movie Newport Christmas is so good. If you haven't
really
seen it,
good.
and I'll
Yeah.
also say like not every actress could pull that off. I could have seen
No.
that going very
She was
differently.
Perfect casting for that role. Like that when she stumbles into the future, I was like, there's nobody else who could have done this like this. It's perfect.
Balderdash.
Oh my God, she's so good. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm like, we're gonna be playing 6 Degrees of Robbie Simpson a few years
I
from
know,
now. Like
totally.
you know everybody, and this is why you're gonna be successful, is because you are genuinely interested in people and you like them. That's gonna be the thing, Robbie. That's why people like you, because you're so damn likable.
Oh my gosh. Well, from your lips to whoever's listening,
Someone who has some influence.
to the casting team of The Traitors.
That's
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. And then Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, that would be.
Oh my gosh, so
Do you
much.
dance?
That would be so much fun. I danced in college, I did a lot of musical theater stuff in college. So it would definitely be brushing off the old dance shoes. But I mean, that show has gotten so much attention, especially this year. And I just love it. I loved their Wicked episode that they did. It was so
Yeah.
wonderful and campy. So I don't know. Here's the thing. I never thought that I would do reality TV. And now that I've done it, I'm like, oh my God, I had such a blast. But I also think, and I know that Hallmark, and I'm not just saying this, took such good care of us. We were treated so well. Also, all the press afterwards. I mean, I can't imagine it being any cushier than Hallmark. And so that's part of it. It's like, maybe I had it so good, I don't want to do it again, but it was fun.
Well, you touched on it briefly at the top of the episode, but a lovely viewer of Finding Mr. Christmas was as upset by your elimination as we were and took it a step further and started a petition to get you cast in a Hallmark movie. First of all, did she reach out? How did you come to be aware of this petition?
It was the night before Thanksgiving, and my partner Kyle texted me and said, "Have you seen this petition?" That's how I found out about it.
Wow.
And what? What's going on? And so I don't know Lindsay. I don't know her. I didn't know her previously. And I was so floored by more so the note that she wrote. And you know what? like pushing the petition on anyone, but just like read the note that she wrote because like as actors, sometimes you feel like you want to make a difference. You want to feel like you're telling stories, you're breeding empathy, like you're here to make your mark on the world. And like reading that, I was like, yep, this just feels so fulfilling, or like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And we didn't know each other. She's just like, and it's not like she has this big influencer, she writes that. And I just loved for her that she felt like I want to use my voice. And she says that like, that's like really what was so meaningful to me about it. And like, I'm happy for her that it has taken off and it's gotten all of these, attention and signatures and everything, because it means, her voice matters and her voice does matter. And I think Hallmark really listens to their fans. I think that they always have. They take their fans very seriously. And so I just really appreciate her doing that. It was incredibly meaningful.
We will absolutely. We wrote a post about it on Girls Gone Hallmark, but we will, of course, share the link to that petition in the show notes of this episode. And yeah, you should check it out and see what she wrote. She also called in to a recent episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, our episode 6 recap. You can hear her voicemail that she left for us there. I love the fans activating for their people.
So do I. I love it. I love it so much.
Speaking of that petition, if this comes to fruition, which we're all just going to do everything we can, what's your dream Hallmark role? Like, what does that look like for you?
Oh, it's such a good question. Well, I'll tell you, like, I always like love mysteries, and I love like a kind of like a whodunit, and I love that Hallmark has this whole, they do that, like mistletoe murders, all of that. So maybe like something like that would be really fun to do. But also I just like want to just like be there. Like,
are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Wendy just had a look. She's like, I got an idea.
Okay, I'll tell you about it later. But go ahead.
But also just like just like existing, like I'd love to like be Jonathan's like best friend in a movie or something, or like be Jenna Claire's like buddy, or like that's what I want. Me and Jenna Claire like in a movie together, and I'm like helping her figure out like how to get the guy. I'm like, this is like what you need to do, and then she's like going to like try to get the guy. So it's like we're like working together on it. That would be so fun. And like play a straight character or play a gay character, but it doesn't have to be for me like a romance. It's just like just existing, just like being there, hanging out. But I, for me, what I do is all about the community and all about the people. That's why I got into theater. That's what I love most about being on set, doing Funny Mr. Christmas. So I guess that's why I'm like, how about a Christmas movie directed by Ali Liebert that's like a little bit of a mystery Christmas movie where Jonathan and I are mischievously, influencing Jenna Claire to do something. How about that?
Oh boy, the hijinks, right? The
Sold.
hijinks are gonna write themselves there.
Yeah, we got who are we gonna get to write that? Ooh, who should write that is Joel Dovev, the writer of The Cases of Mystery Lane, a canceled too soon mystery franchise. He would be a good time.
Yeah.
Joel,
love it.
go.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where they can find you to keep up with what's going on with you, Robbie.
For sure. I'm most active on Instagram at Mr. Robbie Simpson. I'm trying to get more into TikTok. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing over there, but I'm trying to figure it out. But Instagram is the best. And I love hearing from people. Like, write me, DM me, like happy to hear anything that you want to talk about.
It's so lovely. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of these thoughts with us. This was such a good time. I could talk to you forever. And thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. We'll be back next time with more Hallmark reviews. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.